Audio? Mr. Audio Man. So, if you're coming back as something else in reincarnation, what would you want to come back as?
Probably, probably if I came back reincarnated as something else, maybe a fox, because they're really sly and they do things that are out of the ordinary. Once you think you got them cornered, then boom, they're off again. They're down in the hole, they're down and escaping away. So a fox would be pretty good.
So tell us about life in Modesto, California for us jaded New Yorker types.
Well, Modesto, for one thing, you can drive your car and actually find a parking place. And there's also a lot of stuff to do there. Of course, our buddies Bartles and James live there, the big Gallo wineries. And it's close to most everything. You're about an hour and a half from San Francisco, about a 5-hour drive from Los Angeles. So if you're looking for something interesting to do, there's always drive to the Bay Area, something like that. So Modesto's all right.
Any bands of any fame or notoriety come from the Modesto area that we might know about?
Not a one. Nothing that I know of. There was one band that had a record out called The Lights, but it's like, well, they didn't really do anything. So nobody from Modesto yet. Maybe I'll be the first.
Why blue?
For some reason, blue's always just been the color that I like. I mean, mostly the clothes that I wear are blue. My eyes are blue. And I don't know, I've been blue most of my life, so blue's my color.
Do you have any brothers or sisters?
Have an older brother who has 2 kids, a younger brother who's my roommate at this time, and we're both living in a 2-bedroom place in Modesto. Surprisingly, a 2-bedroom apartment in Modesto is about $400.
What's your brother do?
My younger brother works in the loading dock at a turkey plant. Foster Farms, and basically what he does all day is he takes things off the truck, he puts them on the truck, into the loading dock, back and forth, back and forth. My older brother drives a truck, so he's out on the road all the time, and got to make that money for the 2 nephews and the wife at home.
You're pretty close with your younger brother?
Yeah, it was really surprising. We were living together. It's really, really amazing, because we used to fight like cats and dogs when we lived at home. And I said, well, you know, if you want to move out of the house, I need a roommate. I want to save about $200 a month on rent. So I said, hey, why don't you move in with me? And it's been great ever since.
What happens if your brother comes in and asks you for advice, says to you one night, he's in love with this woman, and he wants to get married, and she's an Iranian?
Well, I mean, nationalities and stuff don't mean anything to me at all. It's just that I'd probably tell him at this time in his life, getting married isn't too swift of an idea, because he barely makes enough money to pay for half of the rent and the other stuff like that and his car payment. So I'd probably tell him, why don't you think about it and wait a while. I think the Iranian problem, you'd have to probably talk to my dad. He's the one from Oklahoma who has those set ways.
You grow up in Oklahoma?
Actually, I was born in San Jose, California, but I moved to Oklahoma when I was about 5, and I really count that as my home state, because I did all my real growing up in Oklahoma. You know, between like 6 and 13, you do most of your really good growing up.
You bought anything lately other than the Motown compilation? Or no, you probably get most of your records.
Yeah, being music director at a rock station, I get most of my albums for free. I think the last thing that I bought before that was Janet Jackson's Control, since we didn't really get that one. I don't really, you know, since I work at a rock station, I'm not, you know, paired into that one, you know, genre of music. I listen to all kinds. I like oldies from the 50s and early 60s, and, you know, rock's one thing, but I listen to most everything.
What's like your adventure club pick or something from left field that you really like lately, some new sound that most people...
Okay, there's a guy on Polygram, David Lynn Jones, and he does a song called Bonnie Jean. It's about a truck driver, and it's really, you know, it's a country song. We're playing it on the air because I liked it so much. I says, we got to give this thing a shot. So we're playing it on the air. We're getting lots of requests for it, mostly from women, and it's really doing well for us, not nationally, of course, and it's doing well on the country charts. So, you know, we beat the local country station to a country hit, which is really good.
Okay, you're a VJ, and I stopped by your show, and maybe you want to ask me a couple of questions.
Okay.
I'm Steve Leeds. I work at MTV.
Well, Steve, you know, what made you, how'd you get the job at MTV in the first place?
Oh, I guess I was just lucky. I was in the right place at the right time when the position was created.
Okay. Now, being at MTV must be a really high pressure because it's a nationwide cable company, and the hiring of VJs has to be a really tough job because there's really no set pattern for being a VJ.
That's true.
You can't go to college to learn how to do that, so how do you decide who gets hired?
Well, radio seems to be a good breeding ground. Carolyn Helvin, Mark Goodman were both disc jockeys. So I figured, you know, you might be a good guy. You seem to have a couple of opinions on the subject, so I figured, why not you?
Well, you know, I'm very opinionated. How about you? I mean, if someone says something to you, and do you just go out point blank, or do you think about something before you say it?
I tend to be emotional and react from the gut. You know?
Not violent, are you?
Nah, I just, you know, jump around a little bit and yell and then make phone calls.
Okay. Now, about 5 years from now, MTV's still on the air, of course. It's going to be on forever. What do you see as being MTV's future in 5 years? 10 years? Think.
The definitive, quintessential global source of music video entertainment.
Do you perhaps maybe want to move on and do one of the other MTV networks, let's say like in Australia or England, something like that?
Nah, I'd rather be a disc jockey somewhere.
Well, where would you rather work? If you had any place in the country, where would you want to work?
Maybe Austin, Texas.
Why?
Different than New York.
Yeah, most anything's different from New York. Being here for the first time, I see how different things can be in New York. Well, Steve, it's been nice talking to you, and I hope you one day get that job in Austin, Texas.
Thanks. Why don't you, now you're on MTV, there's some copy hopefully in the monitor there. There you go. And
Okay.
Introduce yourself, back announce a particular video of your choice or the one that's there. And, there's the first thing is a liner, and then the second thing will be you'll sort of segue into MTV Music News. You know how it's done.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2.
Hi, Beaver Brown here on MTV Music Television, and that was Rat, round and round, sort of like describing my flight here from California. Try to read on an airplane, my head goes round and round and round. But speaking of things that go round and round, one program here on MTV that you can't miss, because if you do, we'll go round and round. 120 Minutes is on every Sunday night. Now, if you want to see some of the newest, most innovative videos you're ever going to see in your life, they're on no other channel. Okay, 120 Minutes is the place to be. 2 hours of innovative new videos. And we got a guest this Sunday, Tema Janovitz. Now, she's going to be stopping by. She's an author, which means, of course, she wrote a book. Now, if you write a book, you can be called an author. Okay, if you're a guy, you can be called Arthur. And also, if you're a PIL fan, which Public Image Limited, you can see the world premiere of Seattle. That is 120 Minutes coming up this Sunday at midnight Eastern Time, 9 o'clock Pacific Time, right here on MTV. And in the music news, if you missed Farm Aid 3 in Lincoln, Nebraska, you missed quite a sight, because they had raised at least $3.3 million for America's family farmers. Now, the farmers are having a tough time these days, and if you didn't put any money in, I think you're probably hurting yourself more than anything. Organizers expect the money to come in from mail-in pledges, and if you made a pledge, why don't you, put a few more bucks in there to help them out. And they're also going to be having delayed broadcasts, so maybe you can help out then, or if you know somebody who hasn't. And, well, a famous face is going to join Farm Aid's ranks, basically maybe because her dad was a farmer. Amy Carter says she's taking a year off from school to spend the next year working at Farm Aid's offices in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Now, of course, why is she taking a year off? Maybe because Amy was dismissed from Brown University. Her grades were not too great. You stand in front of a CIH roadblock or something, try not to have them deliver nuclear weapons. I think your grades could kind of slip there, And also coming up for you folks out there who are into music, Billy Joel. He was in Russia recently, did all those series of concerts. Well, he's going to release some recordings of those that summer tour in the USSR next month. Joel's live album is due out October 19, and its title is Konchart. Hopefully that's the correct Russian pronunciation, but in English it means live or on stage. Now, the first single is going to be Back in the USSR. What else could it have been? That's due out October 5th. He also did a great version of Bob Dylan's The Times They Are A-Changin'. That's going to be on the B-side. Both tracks were recorded live in Leningrad. There'll be a Back in the USSR video, too, shot by Wayne Isham, who directed concert clips for Bon Jovi and Motley Crue. And, of course, you're going to probably see that video first right here on MTV. Bono, he's not going to be waving his arms too much in the next few U2 shows. He kind of hurt himself. He slipped and fell on a rainy stage show. during a RFK Stadium concert in Washington, D.C. Now, Bono suffered a dislocated shoulder, but, you know, he finished the concert. He's a trooper. He was in a sling. Bono won't be able to play the guitar either. He asked the doctor if he could play the violin, you know, but of course he'd never played it before. Now, a spokesman for the group says his injury is, quote, pretty painful. Yeah, if I dislocated my shoulder, it'd be pretty painful too. But so far, no U2 dates have been canceled. All right, you got Beaver Brown here on MTV. Coming up, we're going to have music from Steve Winwood, Higher Love.
Okay. Now, as you're aware, there's lots of people who've auditioned before you, maybe some after you.
Correct.
Just take the next 2 minutes and present some sort of way for us to be thinking about Beaver Brown long after we've walked out of this room. Something to distinguish yourself as why you're a personality, why you're the guy. Maybe it's a story, maybe it's an embarrassing moment. Just something to distinguish yourself from the rest of the folks.
Okay. Well, basically, when I leave the room, I hope that I've done a good enough job to be hired as a VJ here on MTV because, you know, other than sitting in this room right about now and doing this stuff off the top of my head, I'm very good at doing interviews live and also have a very good knowledge of music. I've been in radio for about 8-9 years now, and I'm a music director at a rock station in Modesto, California. But one reason I think that I could possibly work well here at MTV is because bringing a personality to the station and also being able to do things right, not only just sitting here talking to you, but if any situation comes up, I should be able to handle it. So as I leave here today, I'm hoping the people that look at this tape will look at it closely and see somebody who's a future for MTV, not just a one-shot deal sitting here in the studios, but I'm somebody who could really make a difference here on MTV.
Great. Thank you.
Is that it?
That's it.
All right.